patience, we'll go ahead and get the annual meeting portion started here. Folks on the, let Jeffrey know. Jeffrey's monitoring the computer. If you can't hear us or see us or something, let us know. So I definitely have a few more people RSVP, but thank you for being here. Do a quick and welcome to Weaver Eggs. Thanks for joining us. Happy to have you with us. So go ahead and hit the button.
And Roger's in the.
Did Roger
get
on? Okay. These are the results of our election. This was our slate of candidates. All of them have been returned to their service on the board. We appreciate your willingness to run and to serve. So congratulations. The Millers really took it all. 3 people named Miller on that. Oh, and I'm happy to send you the PowerPoint. Okay, go ahead. And then this is just, you can see kind of the distribution here going forward. So, you know, we were talking about moving our annual meeting to June. So the folks that now say December 2023, we just shipped that all. It would end up being June. I think that's what I would say. So thanks again. All right, next. We need like that ding thing for the film projector in like grade school. We very much appreciate Carrie's service. And but next up is Bob Bixler, will be our chairperson beginning with our March meeting. And on our next meeting, we will hold elections for the first chairperson and second chairperson for the next two-year cycles of chairmanship.
Oops, sorry.
That's all right. Financially, we did just go through our financial report with our accountant earlier in our closed meeting. This just gives you a sense of where our income comes from, our membership dues, funds that we raise at our banquet and golf outing, our National Poultry Improvement Plan activity fees, so hatchery, avian influenza production, and I always miss, and exhibition and commercial flock fees. We also get some funds through our turkey checkoff program. Really, that just helps pay for staff time that's you know, dedicated for that work. Really most of that checkoff proceeds go into marketing. And then we also have a cooperative agreement with the USDA, and that funds a good bit of our NPIP work as well. So we did pretty well at our banquet in February, but we did have a kind of a funny COVID wave a week or 2 before the banquet, which kind of affected attendance a little bit. Finally, that week before, we had a lot more people sign on. Hopefully this coming February, we'll have much more normal, regular attendance and our traditional income from that event. Golf outing was well attended, and we made money on par with, Paul would appreciate that, with previous years. So that was good. Thank you for your sponsorships, for coming to the events, for just being part of our organization. Just a couple minutes here on can't have a meeting and not talk a little bit about preparedness. So just some of the things that we're doing and that I might remind you to do. Chelsea in particular has been doing all our biosecurity audits, learning alongside her. And so she has, those are due every 2 years at the end of September. So she has finished those, submitted those, everyone crossed the bar. So in another 2 years, those will be due, but we go out and we make those visits on an annual basis. So we'll be continuing to do our NPIP visits, and you know, we talk about that biosecurity plan every time we're together. We collect some of your test results, and Jeffrey keeps a lot of those straight and really rely on having those up to date and in place. I know when we had our incident in February, that was, you know, one of the first phone calls we got was, okay, where's all this information, making sure it's all in place so that training can continue without issue. If you haven't already spent some good time with the Indiana AI plan, it is available on our website, and it is a password protected website. Go and spend some time there. You need to have a company specific plan. This state plan is in place, and it ensures that we're able to get that and combined with the biosecurity audits, ensures that we are qualified for indemnity, or your farms qualify for indemnity, but you need to do some work here. ISPA hosts the authorized agent training, and that is also available online. I have, I think, a slide about that in the next, you don't have to go yet. Make sure you have sampling supplies on hand in the event you end up in a control area or surveillance zone, so that you can kind of, in that first 24, 48 hours, be out and doing your testing. If you haven't spent some time with the secure poultry supply plan yet to get a better understanding of how your products would move within an incident, really, those are some really good resources there. You need to spend some time there. It's one of those things that company by company, you really need to spend time there. And call BOA to schedule a preparedness consultation. I only gave it that name. Dr. Shipman and Dr. Cooper are here with us today, as well as Dr. Kraft. And they'd be happy to come out and visit with you and kind of take a deep dive into what's going on at your farm. Let's meet with them. All right. Next. Again, another kind of plug. We have our authorized agent AI SWAB school that is online. This is something we used to do in person, and maybe someday we'll go back to that or offer that again. But right now, this has been pretty efficient and effective. There are video modules that you sit through, and at the end, you kind of hit, I completed this, submit. That goes to Chelsea or Jeffrey, and then you get confirmation back that you've completed that. Still need to have support to learn how to do the hands-on part of the swabbing. And we can arrange, if you don't have a good person to help train you on that, we can get you in contact with the Purdue ADDL, and the resident there, the avian diagnostician resident, can come out and help train you. So, but all things you need to do in advance, not can kind of be done quickly in an incident, but we prefer not. So that's been really successful. We even had people from other states come in and watch. All right. Again, just kind of reinforcing, every farm needs a plan. So spend some time figuring out what depopulation means within your company structure and at your individual farms. What options work for your actual facility, and what options are acceptable to the governing agencies. Also, really, we found in this particular incident, composting is really what's happening. If that is not something that you've explored within your company operation or farm to farm, really need to take a look at, what I do indoor composting, or we moving materials outdoors, and if so, do we have the acres, do we have control of the acres, that sort of thing, really figure that out. We continue to have landfill available, but that is not something that should be relied on as your first option. In a very large scale incident, I think we would certainly be pushing hard to have that option available, especially for management disposal of things that are not birds or manure, or carbon materials. We're going to need some disposal, whether it's hay pellets and that sort of thing. So anyway, that option is still, it's not gone, but please don't rely on it as your only option. And we just talked to somebody last week who that was still the only option they had. So make sure that's not what your individual growers still have. Incinerator, I still have good contacts there. We've talked with them even within this incident. It would be a pretty specific need, but that's still viable. But that is the centralized incinerator here in Indianapolis. All right. Okay, off of preparedness and onto, we've been active finally this year after our having to postpone the biennial for nearly a biennial, I think. We were able to be in person in Dallas, Texas. Indiana was well represented. Thank you very much. We had a significant representation from our companies, and I'll go ahead and brag on us. We're definitely the largest contingent there among the states, which says a lot about our industry. And hope is something people look at and think, might be a good place to be. We do have a list of all the different proposals that were evaluated during the biennial conference, and I'm happy to share those with you. Just kind of a summary of what the proposal was and ultimately what the vote was on it. I have that on documents, just too big to share here. There was one proposed change, sorry, that's a lot of words, that was a concern that did pass that we would have preferred not to, and that it no longer are the laboratories required to inform the official state agency of kind of a preliminary, that very first test when they're seeing it. And we in Indiana, with the agreements we have with our NPIP labs, really require them to report to us. So we think we'll continue to get this information from our labs, but that was the one proposal that just didn't go the way we would have liked. It was a close vote. And this, you can just, I just included who our delegation was, kind of small there, but we have really impressive representation in person from all of our different set parts. Appreciate you being there. We also represent Illinois because we have a memorandum of understanding with Illinois to do their NPIP work for companies that are based here in Indiana. So we represented that as well. All right, go ahead. Oh, it's a little bit different. I think there was one more thing. What was it? Oh, okay, you can go back. If we have several people from Indiana who serve on the General Conference Committee, but we're going to have one. It's not like an opening that's dedicated to us, but we have one person who currently serves that won't be volunteering again. But if you or someone within your company would be interested in serving on the General Conference Committee, we welcome you to step forward and let us know of your interest. All right, now we can do animal ag. All right, so I'm shifting gears pretty fast here. Animal Ag Alliance, if you've not heard of this group, it's an organization that keeps track of animal agriculture activists across the country. Jeffrey and I were able to go to one of their national meetings in May last year, and I just heard their CEO speak again a few weeks ago at National Chicken Council. This is not something that touches us very often in Indiana, but we're not completely immune. We do have a few isolated incidents, and we've had a few this year. This is something that I suggest, you know, as companies, and I have some resources to share with you if you are interested. Take a look at this. If you haven't spent time kind of talking through what you would do if activists showed up at your farm, at your processing facility, at one of your meetings, are really active on social media, however it is they might get to you, spend some time there. And we didn't talk about it this morning in our closed board meeting, but I'm hoping that ISPA is going to have some conversations just to make sure that we are prepared, whether we're in a setting like this or at our banquet or our golf outing or, you know, on a site visit, that as an association, we know how to respond if there's some sort of incident that happens at one of our events. Even this is just some quotes that are rather sensational. And this Animal Ag Alliance, we are members, and so I can access their services. They can, if there are questions about things that are posted online or videos or things like that that are out there, they have a way to get those and be able to kind of pull them down and not have everybody going in and clicking on them and making them, you know, even more popular. We can kind of ask them to be monitoring things, things a little bit. As much as I can, if you end up in this situation, you know, please give me a call. I will try to be of assistance and help with media there. All right. Again, activists are here. What is our plan? I would say today, if all of a sudden somebody arrives at the door, generally the instruction is stay calm, try not to react, and rely on security to do their jobs. A lot of times they encourage you to go ahead and video what is going on. Like you're likely being videoed yourself, you know, but to turn that camera, get your own camera going. to kind of hold them accountable. So we'll talk about that a little bit more maybe in the subsequent meetings here in the spring and summer. Just to make sure we're prepared. And yeah, just wanted to acknowledge that Indiana Soybean Alliance and Indiana Corn Marketing Council are working pretty hard to promote poultry products exported from Indiana. They currently they're working very closely with U.S. Poultry and Egg Export Council, and they currently have projects that are specific to Indiana products going into Colombia, Chile, India, Mexico, and Peru. And so they have been putting a good bit of money and effort into this, and sometimes it doesn't. It's hard to understand why we're doing this, but basically, we have more corn and soybeans than our poultry can eat in Indiana, and they're trying to, as long as we've satisfied that domestic market, there's no reason for us not to. It's a way to add value to those corn and soybeans, have the poultry consume them, and whether they're meat birds or egg layers, that value-added product just give more and more money back to the state of Indiana before it goes on overseas. So if you're interested in exploring that, I can definitely connect you with folks at the Indiana Soybean Alliance for Marketing Council. I have a few more slides on that. This is that video. I don't know. So I got to go to Colombia earlier this year in September. Just a quick video. This was promoting turkey, which you'll see on the big screen flashing in the back. So we visited a number of different groceries and saw how they marketed turkey. They're working pretty hard at it.
Oops, sorry.
We found a culvert duck in the case. That was exciting. In general, it was an effort for turkey. It was mostly ground turkey and chubs, but always fun to find that actual Indiana product in the case. So they actually sent a number of Indiana corn and soy farmers to go on these trips. They asked to have poultry. So if you're interested in that, let me know. They are interested in having people come on. All right, next.
Oh, another one? Wait.
There we go.
There we go.
They've also offered that if folks from our companies are interested in going to the Gulf Food Show in Dubai, they're willing to help with expenses there. So if you are interested, that's coming up in February. I can get you connected there. All right, next year, elected officials. So we're coming up on the Indiana General Assembly. We'll be opening here right at the beginning of the year. It's a long session with budget on the table. I am registered, and ISPA is registered to lobby at the General Assembly, mostly trying to just pay attention and play defense and watch out for things that might be of concern where we don't have any specific bills that we're introducing. And the bills haven't really dropped yet. They won't really be introduced. I think this Friday is maybe their deadline to submit them. But I still don't know exactly when we'll see them, some of them. And they can continue to introduce bills for a long time in the Senate. So, pardon me. So I'll try to keep you up to date on that. We also I spent some time trying to follow county and local zoning and ordinances. If there's something that you become aware of that's going on in your community, please flag it and let me know. I meet on a weekly basis with Indiana Farm Bureau, Corn Soy, Indiana Pork, Indiana Dairy, And this is the topic of our conversation. What's going on with, confined feeding approvals with IDEM, any issues with zoning and ordinances, that sort of thing. And we want to make sure we can continue to expand in Indiana and invite in new folks. The environment here is hospitable. And they'll listen to me, but they really want to hear from their constituents. So anytime you can pick up the phone or encounter your elected officials, they want to hear what your experiences are and what your thoughts are on the different bills and things impacting. All right. Oh, be like Joe. No, you're senator. This is Senator Jean Lysing, who's head of the Senate Ag Committee, and she joined us for the governor's presentation. But yeah, just a lot of the lines have moved just a little bit. So if you haven't checked, make sure you know who it is that is representing you now. I had to adjust some of my lists. Okay. And then also on a more national level, we do some visits up to the Hill with our Indiana delegation. So it's not just a state level. I also need you to make yourself known to your federal representatives. This past year was able to go with United Egg Producers in May up to the Hill, and then with National Turkey Federation July. If that's something that interests you or your company would like to participate, and you're members of those organizations, reach out to me or those organizations, and we'll be happy to have you with us. And of course, always wanting to hear any concerns you may have that should maybe be addressed and be considered by those organizations for discussion. American Egg Board, we are involved there. We have quite a bit of leadership just within Indiana, on the American Egg Board itself. Mindy Truex of Creighton Brothers is the current chairwoman of the American Egg Board. Andy Sager with Wabash Valley Produce does a lot of the financial work. It's a member. And Sam Krause has been serving on the executive committee. I was asked to serve on the scientific research committee, and that's been a really interesting opportunity. They have one state association representative on each of the committees, and so that's where I am. They have really switched most of their work away from kind of traditional television commercials and that sort of thing to social media, and they're really into influencers and TikTok and Instagram and Facebook. So Jeffrey works hard to, if you are not already on our Facebook page or Instagram page, please go on and follow us. We always enjoy the followers. But we do try, we mostly get material from AEB and just, push it on. We do buy a lot of printed materials from AEB that we share in mailings, educational mailings across the year. Scientific Research Committee, I'll just give a little plug for that. Our three topics that we're really working on pretty hard here are sustainability. There's been a lot of talk about participation with the U.S. Roundtable for Sustainable Poultry and Egg. We have a few folks, a number of our companies here in Indiana are pretty involved in the roundtable already, and AEB is working with them. There's a life cycle assessment of the egg that is complete, but now going through ISO evaluation, but hopefully will be released in early 2023. And I think then we'll see some more conversation and action there, messaging around the sustainability of eggs, really promoting and looking at, eggs' role in combating world hunger and kind of getting eggs to people across the world who really need great and flexible sources of protein. And then there's really been some nice shifts in really trying to reiterate that cholesterol that you eat in food has very little effect on the cholesterol of your blood cholesterol level. And a lot of people don't, everybody I think still remembers what the instructions were in, 1970, 1980, that it should be eggs too high in cholesterol, it's going to raise your cholesterol. A lot of the science now is showing that is not true. So definitely we're trying to work between the Scientific Research Committee and kind of the Outreach Committee to really get that message out there, so that people are reaching for those eggs whenever during the day and relying on less good protein. Okay. National Turkey Federation, I will say, and I would say this even if Phil wasn't in the room, top-notch organization. They have amazing support. So they've definitely been struggling most with high path, but always there and providing a lot of support. We have our Turkey Market Development Council, so we get a small portion of the checkoff dollars for turkey production here in Indiana, and we work with our Turkey Market Development Council, mostly from the PERDU and Farvest companies and a few other independent growers down in Southwest Indiana to promote turkey. And we are continuing to host the 2020-21 National Thanksgiving Turkeys. So we're still peanut butter and jelly. We're still alive and well at Purdue University. Okay.
Oh, sorry.
Something else there.
No. We go right into that.
And then just a quick review of some of our events. We had our banquet in February 2022. It was well attended considering the COVID threat and the fact that we had a avian influenza incident coming down on the same day, basically. So again, thank you for your support there. We're really looking forward to this year's banquet and hope that it really gets back to its former self. We will be celebrating with a Golden Egg Award this year, so we're looking forward to that too. That was not part of our celebration last year. Right. We had some really nice opportunities at State Fair this year. We've been part of this incubator display for a number of years, and a number of the companies I know donate ducklings and poults and chicks to help fill the incubator. But we had just nicer space this year. They moved us from the poultry barn to the expo hall, and we were with Mama Town, so we were with a cow calf and a pig and piglets, and so we were kind of part of the full barnyard, and we got lots of great foot traffic. We were able to, this is the second year we've been able to have a table there with poultry related materials for people to pick up. And this is just a young gentleman, and you can hardly see her. There's a chicken named Midnight right there. She's really black. There's chicken on the table. All right. And then peanut butter and jelly spent their August at the State Fair. And we were off in a kind of a quiet corner, but they did well. And it was a really nice opportunity. Anytime I was able to spend time there and talk with people was really fantastic. The picture here on the bottom left, Dr. Chiang, I believe is his, is that right?
Yeah.
Meng Chiang.
The
new president of Purdue University was able to join us, and that was fun to get to introduce him to our turkeys and also let him know ISPA is a thing at Purdue. Andrea Welp, the grower of the turkeys, is kind of in the middle there, and then we had some fun giveaways. Had a great golf outing. Thank you again. Lots of great support, both in attendance and sponsorship. And just a few weeks ago, had a nice gathering at the State House and celebrated your generosity with your neighbors with Lieutenant Governor Suzanne Crouch. This is only half of this display. On the other side of the podium were two tables of the same size with additional poultry products. So this is the first year we had really pushed to have kind of individual tables for each of our sectors. We'll definitely continue on and make that even splashier. It was really fun to see all the wide variety of poultry products that you all produce. All right, we're getting close. Just upcoming events. Our banquet is coming up February 7th. Golf outing. We're having a little bit of issue there, but it's still tentatively scheduled for September 14th. And I have included in packets kind of lists of our future meetings. But some of our upcoming event or board meetings, you're always, as members, you're always welcome to join us in the open portion of our board meetings. So anytime you'd like to come and be with us, we're happy to have you. Okay. I think that's it. Maybe there's one. Okay. There we go. All right. Any questions, any issues? Any members would like to introduce? Anybody online there?
Becky, I'd just make a comment. I thought the presentation that the governor's it was very well. You guys did a nice job for this one. I thought it was a very nice. Kind of what we did. Years past.
Thank you. Yeah, we'll continue to work on our signage. We were fortunate we were able to have it in. Coincidentally, was on Organization Day for the General Assembly, so we had some of our representatives and senators there, and that was nice to be able to have them, even just a few of them around. Thank you for that feedback. Thank you, Jeffrey, for making the signs. Chelsea, school.